Since I took over, a lot has been happening. If you recall, we had our first meeting and we briefed you as to what we are going to do. So this press conference is a follow-up from that. When I came in, various files were in the pipeline, so I requested that those files be sent to court. And as we speak, of course, you are aware that the Hajj file was unsealed. It was unsealed here in your presence. And the case was supposed to have come up on Monday, the 30th of July, was it? It didn't come up because a lot of things were being planned around that case. Firstly, the indictment itself has been redrafted. New charges have been included, and additional people or person has been included. The file will come up on the 20th of August, and this time it will come up for arraignment. There's another one, which is the state against Jonathan Michael Jenkins. Is a military officer who was engaged in arresting a vessel and is alleged to have converted the fuel for his own purposes. That officer is going to be charged to court. There is the case against Emmanuel Toka and Mustafa Solomon Luseni in Bo. That also has been filed. The state against Michel Kamara in Bo has been filed. The state against Emmanuel Suleiman Musa Kowa in Kenema has been filed. There is also a case against Emmanuel E.C. Shears Moses. That too has been filed. It will also come up very soon. So those are the files that were in the pipeline. There are still others under review, and indictments are going to be filed in those ones as we go. The following cases are the ones that are being investigated currently by the Commission. There are other ones being investigated, but the ones who are actively being investigated with a view of them going to court immediately. Of course, in the last press conference, you were briefed about the NACIT SISMI investigation, which involved the building of a hospital as a public-private partnership. NACIT was to represent the interest of the state, and there were certain issues involving procurement and also allegations of misappropriation. That file has almost concluded investigations. It is now with the prosecutions for the preferment of indictment in that file. It's a wide-ranging investigation. So many people were arrested, many were detained, but all of them are on bail as we speak. So the NACIT file is on its way to court. We are only waiting for the prosecutions to finish with the indictment. Of course, the NACIT ferry case, which was here before I came in, what we did was to bring in the people who were charged. But the press has to understand this. We are not going back on the decision taken by this commission. We are standing back by the decision that was taken by the commissioner at the time with his team, that these people pay certain monies in settlement of that claim. It was not our decision, but we are not going to undermine ourselves. So the decision is going to go ahead, but what we did, what we have done right now, is that we called everybody involved from Edmond Kroma to Mahmoud Idris, Mr. Ba, all of them were brought in, and they were put on bail. Similarly, they were reminded that at the time of the agreement, each of them paid 200 million euros, and there was still 300 million euros. The total which they were supposed to pay was 500 million euros. So, as we speak, they have entered into a fresh agreement with the commission to continue paying. Edmond Kroma, for example, has started by paying, has sent, what is Edmond Kroma? Somebody sent 50 million euros. Ibaimba sent a check of 50 million euros to reduce his quota. Mr. Edmond Kroma as well is taking steps to make sure he continues payment. So all of them are on bail. Only one of them is out of the country, but he too has communicated with us that he's coming, and they are supposed to complete their payment within a set timeline, which for now is about 9 months given to them to complete payment. 50 million or 100 million installment, as the case may go. They can finish earlier if they so choose, but we have agreed that they should finish this payment within the next 1 year. There is also the matter involving the former master and registrar of the Fast Track Commercial Court, and investigations into abuse of office. That matter involves Mr. Goto Kamara, Lansana Goto Kamara, and the matter is now with prosecution for the profilement of indictment. All investigations have been concluded, the statements taken. He himself is on bail. The matter is likely to go to court by next week. There is a matter involving the former head of the Petroleum Directorate, Mr. Raymond Cargo. He was brought in. Mr. Cargo and his team paid themselves terminal benefits at Petroleum Resources Unit whilst they remain in office. We picked this up and we invited him to come and explain how can you pay yourself terminal benefits. Personally, his own terminal benefits was about 1.3, 1.4 billion euros. But he continued in office over 1 year after. So he was arrested, brought in, but we subsequently put him on bail. And the problem we have with those investigations is this. We have discovered a systemic reliance on executive orders to do manifestly illegal things. So, for example, when Mr. Cabo was brought in, he came brandishing an executive clearance he received from State House 1 year ago to allow him to pay himself terminal benefits but continue in office. So we are going to commission an opinion, a legal opinion, into whether executive clearances can be used in this way and whether in fact their use can absolve somebody who does something which amounts to either corruption or corrupt practices from liability. So Mr. Cargo is on bail whilst we continue investigation in this allegation. There is also the matter involving the TPMS. TPMS involves the Transport Port Management System and the water key. When containers come in, they are the ones who are supposed to track the containers until they come in. And there was an arrangement for government to receive 60% of the proceeds that are paid by owners of containers when these containers come in. So the government was supposed to get 60% of the proceeds, whilst those who are the owners of the company will get 40%. Now, there is a huge bill left. The government of Sierra Leone claims that they were supposed to have been paid by now, since 2015 to date, about $11 million on that 60-40 sharing arrangement alone. What happened is this. The owners of the company were in arrears of payment between 2015 to 2016. When they were in arrears of payment, the agreement had said government will get 60-40. So government had accrued by those arrears quite an interesting amount that could have been paid by these people to the government of Sierra Leone for the benefit of the people of Sierra Leone. What happened is The owners, when they realized the arrears and bill has stacked up, went to our parliament. Had our parliament to amend the agreement that had been entered into and changed the amount from the 60-40% sharing, which would have benefited the people of Sierra Leone more, into a fixed amount per annum of $300,000. So, $300,000 where the people of Sierra Leone could have benefited millions of dollars. But they did not just do that. They made it retroactive to cover the period that has been accrued, thereby obliterating the amounts that had been accrued to government and replacing it with about $300,000. That is what our parliament did. So we are investigating into this, and the owner of that company, who was really supposed to be in charge of transferring the amounts to government, Mr. Sageba, was arrested and brought in. He is still in custody. And his defense is that Parliament did it, not me. I am a businessman. So Parliament had a huge role to play in this. It is not this current Parliament, it is the previous Parliament. But what I want us to understand is this kind of situation that we have. I had already made reference to executive order, not so? And we see how executive order was brandished when somebody paid himself terminal benefits and continued working. That is what he's using as a defense to abuse of office charge. I have also brought to your attention a situation where our own Parliament made this kind of arrangement. It was bad enough that without proper financial justification, the agreement was amended. But why do you have to make it retroactive? These are things which we have to look into as a people. Parliament are empowered to make laws, but they are not above the laws that they make. So we are also still investigating that case. But in view of this defense brought to us, that it is Parliament who changed the 60-40 arrangement, which made the government of Sierra Leone, instead of getting 11 million euros, can only get $11 million, can only get $1.3 million. 11 million, now it's only $1.3 million. And the businessman is saying, well, I am disputing you saying I owe $11 million. Even though we have evidence that he has paid $2 million of that dollars. He is now saying that I only owe the people of Sierra Leone about $1.3 million. So what we have done is to have him commit to paying that. The $1.3 million, which is not in dispute. We have had him to enter into an agreement that he will pay to us. And today, we are in the process of proceeding with steps to make sure $500,000 enters into the consolidated fund. He will pay the rest of the money, $100,000 every month until it is fully liquidated. I have had discussions with the financial secretary and various stakeholders, and they are now reviewing this agreement to see whether in fact it should be terminated altogether or they should have a process of restructuring it. But that is with them. We in the commission have entered into an agreement with Mr. Sageba for $500,000 to be paid, so that the amount of 1.3 million euros can be reduced, and the $800,000 that will be left will be defrayed and paid $100,000 a month until it is liquidated over the next 8 months. We are also investigating issue of double dipping at the Ministry of Agriculture involving 19 million euros. Double dipping is really people who work for government in two different capacities. You are already a director and you are collecting money for a manager. So we are investigating that, and the investigations are underway for this. The hillside bypass road recovery process. This was when government paid monies to various people along that hillside bypass road, several millions, for them to be relocated. But the road was later realigned so that their houses did not fall into those roads, and they were asked to bring back the money. Now, they still occupy the houses, and they are refusing to pay the money. So we are investigating into that, and the recoveries are being made. True to them, some of them are already paying. Even yesterday, somebody paid about 20 million euros, not so. Some of them have entered into a repayment plan with the commission, and some have been honoring. But others have not honored it. So we are looking to take very drastic measures to enforce those commitments to repay the money back to the people of Sierra Leone. There's also, in line with the Ebola investigations, a huge investigation has been commissioned into the Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children Affairs, particularly looking into what they did during the time of the fight of Ebola. That investigation is at advanced stages, and the public will be updated about it as we go. Now, I know most of you are interested in the interest of the ACC in the GTTI, the GTTR. That report, we have already finished our own perusal, careful perusal of it to identify areas where the commission is interested. We have had discussions with the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, because we want the entire process to be done consensuously together. So we cannot be too ahead. Let us all move together, because they are working on setting up the Commission of Inquiry. So a press conference is going to be called sometime next week. I believe that will be done by the Office of the Chief Minister, where the public, the media and the public will be updated as to what is the plan of the government and the Attorney General in respect of the GTTI and what role the ACC will play. So today you are not going to have any update into that, and I invite you, whenever that press conference is announced, to be there. Then you will be updated as to what role the ACC is going to play in respect of that.